Shields up, Iron Breakers. Rurikhan here coming at you with another video. Welcome back to Monster Hunter. And yesterday during the Game Awards we had a new trailer drop for Monster Hunter Rise. Now the trailer that they actually showed during the show was a smaller version of another trailer which was then uploaded onto the official Monster Hunter channel. So today we're going to be taking a look at that particular trailer, and then after we look at it once, I'm going to be doing the whole thing where I pause and I try to give you guys my thoughts on a couple of things that we can see on that trailer. And then we're also going to be going onto the official website because there's some new information there as well about some of the monsters that are showcased in the trailer. Some of those monsters are new, some of those monsters are returning monsters from previous Monster Hunter games, so that is going to be pretty cool. However, I would like to remind you guys that probably me and Gaijin are going to be discussing this in the next episode of the Third Fleet podcast right here on the channel. In case you guys don't know about the Third Fleet podcast, just check out the channel itself. The podcast is live, and me and Gaijin Hunter have plans for doing at least a couple of more of these where we're going to be talking not just about Monster Hunter Rise, but we have a lot of other subjects that we wanted to talk about. But it's basically a longer type of content. It's like around 90 minutes or so of just the two of us talking. And the first episode that we did, personally, I really enjoyed it. Gaijin told me also really enjoyed it. So this is something that we intend to do at least a couple of more times, unless we kind of run out of things to talk about. But yeah, so I hope you guys are checking out Third Fleet podcast because that is really something that I'm particularly proud of. But anyway, let's take a look at the trailer here. I'm gonna play the trailer, and then afterwards we're gonna analyze it to the best of our ability, shall we?
I think it's time. We paid a visit to the stronghold. We have to protect the village.
A huge pack of monsters in a giant stampede. They attack the village in a frenzied rage. Nobody knows why this happens, but it came close to wiping out our village last time.
All of us, everyone in Kimura, we've all been training for this moment for our entire lives.
We need you to protect Kimura Village.
I gotta know about you guys. I know that I can't convey.
Don't miss out.
I know that I can't convey how excited I am because I'm working off of like 2 hours of sleep or so because we stayed up streaming the Game Awards last night. But like, I am so hyped for what is shown in this trailer. So we're going to be breaking it down now. Now we're going to be taking it to the website where there's actually a couple of more details about some of the monsters that we see, including some stuff that I wasn't even aware of because, you know, I only ever got into the older games more on a surface level. But one of the most important bit of news right there, Monster Hunter Rise demo coming January 2021. I don't know about you guys, I'm gonna be diving into this demo and basically it's like January comes, like peace out y'all. I'm doing Rise things. You're never gonna see me. Goodbye. I'm living in Monster Hunter Rise now. That's what's gonna happen. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about this. So let's actually take a look at it. I'm gonna reduce the volume so that we don't get constant like stuttering or stuff like that. So first, I'd like to point out that the start of this trailer is just drop dead gorgeous. Like just the melody that you have going into it. It's just a beautiful melody, really kind of like sets the tone for what's to come in the rest of the trailer, and I think it looks really cool. Now, this right here is actually our the quest giver, the guild lady, whatever you want to call her, right? And her twin sister is going to be giving you the quests on the hub. So one of them is for the guild or the guild hall, whatever you want to call it, another multiplayer portion of it. So one of them is going to give you the single player quests, the other one is going to give you the multiplayer quests. Now, a really cool thing that you see right from the start, let me actually speed up here, is notice how they are literally riding into the village. So these are several players all just kind of like running into the village itself. So you're going to be able to actually mount your palamutes while you're in the village, and the village itself is going to be able to be used by 4 hunters at the same time, which is something that we haven't really had in pretty much any Monster Hunter game. Like you can see other hunters in the hubs, in the gathering halls, the gathering hubs, you know, in the actual multiplayer areas of the game, you can see the other hunters. They've never been able to actually show up, at least that I can remember, in the village itself, which that is something new. And not only that, but notice that some of them are actually using their wire bugs to navigate through the environment. So you can actually like, you can probably do stuff like all around the village, climb up on top of the buildings and whatnot, which is pretty cool. I realize it's something very simple and it's not a huge deal, but it's nice to know that that is going to be a thing. You're going to be able to ride into the village and then mess around on rooftops and whatnot, and you can actually see the other hunters like having their meals on the village instead of just the gathering hall. And I think that's just one of those things that kind of like keeps you immersed into the game for a longer time. Which is going to be pretty sweet. Then you have that right there, I think is actually your shop. Yeah, this is going to be the shop where you can like buy weapons and whatnot. We all know this is not a feature that we tend to use that often because most of our weapons actually end up being crafted at the smithy, which is the next section that you get to see. This is going to be the smithy of Kamura Village, which by the way is very famous for its I think it's Tatara steel. When we get to the website, I'll give you guys the exact description of what it is, but they have like this very special type of steel in this village. And this right here is the main blacksmith. This is your actual blacksmith dude. This again is explained in the official website, and he's very stubborn, apparently, as most blacksmiths kind of like tend to be, I feel like. He's very stubborn, so yeah, he's going to be an interesting character. I'm surprised that he's not a Wyverian. And a lot of, like I remember in Moga, you had a Wyverian as a blacksmith. I don't remember, I think in 4U you had you had different blacksmiths depending on the town that you were at. But a lot of times I feel like the blacksmith is a Wyverian, even though on World, is he a Wyverian? I don't think he is, doesn't matter. But, yeah, you can see the hunters like checking out the goods at the stores here and whatnot. You can see this Palamute with this themed armor. I think that looks really cool as well. Like all of the different armors you can have on your Palamutes and the way that they look. I think that's really nice. This is the tea shop. So the tea shop is actually where you're going to be going to get your meals before you go on hunts and whatnot. As you can see, you see the Palicos here working out the mochi. Even though what you're going to be eating is bunny dangos, I think is what they're called. I'm not exactly sure what these are. I've never had them before. But this thing right here. It almost looks like ice cream, but apparently this is what your hunters are going to eat before hunts. We're gonna have some big hunters if all they do is eat sweets all the time. Then again, you know, the hunter's metabolism burns through all of that stuff like nobody's business. Eating animation is funny as usual. We have looks like this might be some kind of activity that you can do where you like spin the thing up. At least I'm assuming, because this is supposed to represent the hunter character, so I'm assuming you'll be able to just like sit down and do that stuff. That looks kind of cool. Now this is the Kahoot, and the Kahoot is what is going to like reveal where monsters are in the map and whatnot. So in this game, there's not going to be paintballs. I'm assuming there's not going to be any type of scout fly thing, because you just have this owl type creature that's going to reveal where the monsters are for you. But it is, I believe, customizable, and you can like interact with it and stuff. So, you know, as with anything in this game, like you can pet your palicos, you can pet your palamutes. So I'd expect you to be able to do cool things with the Kahoot as well as you can customize it too. And this guy right here, he's going to be like a special vendor, and he has like lotteries and stuff. I believe that potentially he might be replacing the farm. I'm not sure. Not sure if that is a thing or not, but he's definitely going to sell stuff for you, and I would expect that potentially he's going to be the one that you trade with, or, you know, maybe just the person handling your room. There's always someone handling your personal room in Monster Hunter games. You should be able to just do it from there, but I suspect that this might be the character that actually does that. You see the palicos here trying to push that giant tuna. That's really cool. And you can see, just like I said, they're in the village, and they're just like using their wire bugs to jump around and whatnot. I think that's pretty legit that you're able to do that. Again, it just kind of like keeps you immersed in the game. If when you come back to the village, you're not instantly separated from your multiplayer companions. I think that is going to do a lot in terms of just keeping players in the game and not feeling disconnected whenever they have to do you know, something that requires them to go back to the village. Now here we have the return of an older map, which is the Flooded Forest, and it looks gorgeous. Like, I know that a lot of people are going to be like, oh, PlayStation 2 graphics, derp. Yeah, it's running on the Switch. Okay, we get it. Okay, you're ass blasted about graphics. Too bad. Maybe it's not for you, but like, I think this map looks friggin' fantastic. But then again, you guys know me, I'm biased towards Monster Hunter. I'm not ashamed to say it. I don't care. It is what it is. I love this game. But I do think that the map looks really good, especially when you compare it to the older version, which was like separated through the different areas and whatnot. And this time it's just gonna be one big open area that you can go to and hunt monsters in. You can even see the pyramid, by the way, which if you look up images, I don't have anything like ready to show you, but there's even a tweet that Chris from Team Darkside made where it shows you like a juxtaposition of the pyramid in this game and in I think it was Try or 3 Ultimate or something like that. And yeah, and in this one though, you can actually go to the pyramid, it looks like, whereas in Try Ultimate you couldn't. And here we have our very first new monster, Somnicanth, which is a Leviathan type monster, and this makes me believe that we're actually probably going to get Mizutsune, because he looks incredibly similar in terms of its features, particularly his claws, as Gaijin Hunter already pointed out on Twitter as well. And it looks like he's going to have some type of sleep attack, as you can see right there. If the Hunter even says it, if you actually have the trailer going with sound on, the Hunter even says, oh, I gotta stay awake. Which, again, I'm not sure how I feel about the Hunter constantly like doing voices and whatnot. Like, I'm probably going to keep it on at the start, and then we'll see if it gets too annoying or not. But yeah, I feel like this is going to be one of those monsters that I'm not going to feel particularly happy to fight, because I've never been a huge fan of fighting like sleep monsters, but I think it's still going to be interesting. And here you can see the monster probably recovering. At least it looks like he's recovering, like he's cracking something open. And then you see the universal healing color, which is green. And it looks like he healed himself, so this is probably when he retreats to go heal after you've been hunting him for a while, and he cracks open that shell and he heals himself. And I wonder if you can potentially interrupt that to prevent him from actually healing, so that's interesting. Then we have the return of Royal Ludruth, and That's when I actually realized that his main is actually supposed to be a sponge. I never read too much into Ludroth because I never found him to be like this super interesting monster, right? In previous games, I would just beat on him. I thought his main looked cool, but I didn't know it was a sponge. We also have Great Roggy making a comeback there, potentially opening up the path to one of my original monsters, because me being a third fleeter, essentially like one of the first monsters that you face off against is the Great Jaggy, which is, you know, a little bit similar to the Roggy, but the Roggy is more of the poisonous variant of that, so to speak. Not really a variant or a subspecies, just like, you know, me trying to explain. Then we have another new one, Bishatton, and Bishatton has a pouch where he keeps fruit in, all types of different fruit, and then he throws it at you. Like, that's his thing. And he also stands on his tail very much the same way as Great Macaw, so I'd expect us to be able to deal damage to his tail and like get him to trip and whatnot. But yeah, really, I'm sorry about the pixels there getting a little bit wonky, but this tends to happen whenever I pause too much. But really interesting that he just has all those fruits, throws them around, and, you know, look at him hanging on his tail, very much like a, oh, and here, this I have to pause again. He's doing it just very much like Great Macaw, but here I have to pause because we have to put volume. Pay attention to the scream. Did you get that? Let's go again. Yeah, it's him. He's back. I'm not looking forward to it at all. Kezu is pretty much confirmed right there. Like, I don't know any other monster that makes that noise or does that lightning that goes right through. And yep, Kezu's making a comeback. You can expect to see him. Oh boy, it's gonna be tough.
I think it's time.
And then they talk about the rampage mechanic. So they go to the stronghold, which supposedly it looks like it's some kind of a wall that is shielding the village from the outside world. And this is where they go to prevent this rampage event that we've talked about in the past. A huge pack of monsters in the giant stampede. They all just kind of like show up. Like, I think this is going to be very interesting, particularly depending on how many monsters actually show up. But I should point out, this to me looks like one of those quests that is a lot more fun if you're doing it with friends. I don't think this quest is going to be super cool if you're doing it by yourself. Usually quests that involve, you know, usage of siege weapons and whatnot, they all, to me personally, they're always much more interesting if you have a friend that you can kind of rely on. Someone maybe can distract the monster, someone maybe can tackle one weapon, someone maybe can tackle a different weapon, and, you know, I always find those to be better with friends. And here we have Rathalos, Tetranodon, this I think is called Izuchi. It's one of the new ones. This one is, I forget the name of the bird because now I'm thinking about Somnicanth and Bishappen. But we'll talk about him in a minute because, you know, I'm going to go to the official website and then I can remember the name. I'm terrible with names. I'm sure you guys have figured that out by now. You also have the Urzuros coming in. And that is the Rampage. All of us, everyone in Kamura has been training for this moment our entire lives. So it seems like the hunters that actually reside in Kamura, they basically train all of this time to be ready for when the Rampage comes. And here we have Magmedalos with an Arzuros in his mouth. Now either that's one small Arzuros or that's one big ass Magmedalos. Now I do think that this event is going to be interesting depending on how many monsters, like, because like here you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But like this is for trailer purposes, right? Are they just gonna put 5 monsters coming at you non-stop and you have to stop them using siege weapons? That feels like it's a little bit exaggerated. But in a way, I find that to be maybe a little bit more interesting than just having one giant slumbering monster. It's like maybe you got these monsters and they're attacking on different spots in this map that all like culminates in some of them coming in. I assume it's still going to be like 3 monsters per map probably, but like, you know, it will eventually culminate in just all of them converging onto that spot with the siege weapons. I don't know. I think it's going to be crazy to see, but I'm definitely excited to see what all of that is going to be about. But either way, that is a new trailer. Once again, remember, demo coming in January 2021. Now let's take a look at the official website which actually has a couple of other informations on here that we're going to be looking at. So, starting things off, new actions using the wire bug. This has been updated and it tells you a couple of new things that you can do with the wire bug. The wire bug doesn't just feel great to move around with, it introduces powerful new weapon attacks as well. So you got the wire dash here, which is just, you kind of like leaping forward, and it looks like you can do multiple of them naturally depending on the number of charges that you have on your wire bug. They just say a quick forward dash that even lets you move through the air. It's not just a great way of reaching your objective, it can also be changed to attacks and aerial dodges, so it's very helpful during hunts. You have the wall run, which basically like you do a wire dash into a wall, and that kind of just like lets you go into a wall run, which damn, these hunters are athletic as hell. Like they're already athletic as hell and strong as hell in previous games, but the hunters of Kamura Village are like really athletic. Like this is insane. Then we have the wire fall here, which is whenever you get clocked by a monster, you can kind of just like recover from it by using the wire bug. I believe that this is something that we had already seen in a trailer. This naturally expends one of your wire bug charges, but it does allow you to potentially not get hit by follow-up monster attacks. So it's an extremely powerful tool. And like I said, most likely we're going to have monsters that are going to be super agile to compensate for the fact that you have all of these tools that make your hunter like really, really fast. Then you have the Silk Bind attack, which we've seen in the very first trailer, a special attack using the wire bug. All 14 weapons have their own unique skill bind attacks, and it can be performed with your weapon drawn, making the utmost use of the characteristics of each weapon. Now, I actually kind of dig, because I was able to pick up some more detail for some reason looking at this one with the gun lance. He actually throws the bug with the shield hand and then propels himself towards the monster. Like, I think that is going to be one where you might be able to do that on Bishappen when he is standing on his tail. I also suspect that there might be some invincibility frames here while you're doing this. Otherwise, it's going to be one really dangerous move for you to try to pull off, right? All the above actions all consume wire bug gauge, but the number of gauges required and the ensuing cooldown is going to differ per action. So, besides that, we have a couple of more things. Buddy's providing support. You can see the Palamutes. You can see some more details on that. Of course, they're going to tell you that you can pet them and whatnot. And so long as you're riding the Palamute, it does not actually consume any stamina, so you can ride across the fields to your heart's content. Your Palicos are going to be bringing in the buffs and whatnot in general. So Palicos, I think, are going to be more about buffing, whereas Palamutes are going to be more about, actually attacking alongside you in melee. Palicos probably going to be more ranged as well, from what I've seen so far, but they're more of a support type thing, whereas the Palamutes are going to be more of an attack type thing. And you can customize them. As you can see, there's plenty of options. There's already videos up on Twitter and whatnot that kind of show you all of these different options. But yeah, Palicos and Palamutes looking hella good. Then talk about the new monsters, which, by the way, I need to remind myself, what was the name of... It's Aknosom. Aknosom. I gotta put that to memory, because like I knew its name. But versus monsters, there are plenty of monsters with unique ecology. So we have the Somniconth, like I said, which is a formidable aquatic serpent that crests on moonlight nights, likely why it has often been mistaken for a mermaid. People think it's a mermaid. Despite its appearance, it's extremely aggressive, and it doesn't particularly look that peaceful. But it's extremely aggressive, tolerates no trespassers on its turfs. It expels an intoxicating sleep powder from an organ on its neck, knocking out prey before it can resist. So it puts you to sleep and then just beats the crap out of you. Then you have the Bishappen, which is a monster with a distinctive tail. Like I said, he does stand on his tail very much like the Great Macaw. While it's omnivorous, it has a preference for fruit and keeps various fruits with all kinds of effects in its belly pouch. Incredibly curious beast, it enjoys playing tricks on people and has been seen to bat fruit at its prey using its tail. So basically it has like this pouch, almost like a kangaroo, yet chucks fruit out of it, throws it at you. That's kind of neat. One monster that this guy kind of reminds me of is Quechahuacha. I don't know about you guys, but he definitely reminds me a lot of Quechahuacha from Generations. Then we have the Royal Ludruth, and the render of the sponge here, the texture of the sponge looks really impressive, even though in game it's probably not going to look quite as detailed as this. But yeah, it looks really cool. And this is actually information that I wasn't aware of. Like I said, I never looked up the Royal Ludruth, but a larger male form of the regular Ludruth, Royal Ludruth use their sponge-like manes to absorb water and keep from drying out on land. Once the sponge loses moisture, they will seek out water to recover, and they also spew mucus to trip up their prey. See, for all of you guys out there that maybe have never, you never thought too much about this stuff in Monster Hunter, like, every single monster in Monster Hunter has, like, it's got mechanics in terms of how this monster works that actually makes sense from an ecology standpoint. And that is why Monster Hunter is so special in terms of its design of monsters, because stuff actually makes sense and is inspired by things that actually, exist in real life. And it always fascinates me, the level of detail that they go at stuff. Like, again, this is a monster that's been in previous Monster Hunter games. I never looked too deeply into it, but just the fact that they thought this stuff out. Like, no, the main is a sponge. He absorbs water. He then consumes it while he's out on land, and then needs to go back to water to replenish should he run out, which also justifies the mechanic of him going back to water every now and then. Just cool. Then we have the Great Roggy right here, which is a poisonous beast. A larger form of the regular Roggy. Roggy are bird wyverns that travel in packs and are led by the largest and most toxic members. Be careful when one raises its head. Its poison sac expends that signal it's about to spit a cloud of poisonous mist. So make sure to bring your antidotes, and then they talk about the previous ones that we already covered in other videos, such as the Aknosom, Greirizuchi, and Tetronodon. Let me go back here because there's some more stuff to look at. We have, they're going to show us some more weapons soon. We have the story of Kamura Village. Tells us all of the major characters, like you have the quest maiden here, Hinua. Yomogi, like I said, Hinua has a twin sister who does the multiplayer quests. You have Fugen, the elder. You have Yomogi, who runs the tea house, which is where you get all of your meals before you hunt. Hamon, the blacksmith. Kagero, the merchant. Kamitsu, the sweet tooth. Actually, I don't know, what is Kamitsu all about? A brave young girl who just wants to help. She sells you candy apples in Kamura Village. Thanks to her innocent, courageous personality, everyone in the village just treats her with affection. Again, this village is all about you eating candy. You got candy apples, you got the bunny dangos, and all of that stuff. It's going to be insane. A new pet to help you out in your quests, the Kahoot. Kahoots are popular pets in Kamura, beloved for their affectionate and clever nature. Apart from providing some much-needed comfort to hunters, they also help out on quests by showing the positions of monsters. In between quests, you can dress them up in fancy outfits, so make sure to give them the daily attention they deserve. So you're going to be able to interact, customize it, and then, when you send it out flying, it's just going to work out. And the multiplayer in Kamura Village, like I said, it's going to be used up to 4 players simultaneously during a multiplayer session. You can talk and have fun with other hunters while still in the village. Then you have the story of it, where they actually go into the details of the rampage, which I believe I already talked about this in the previous video, but let's go over it again real quick. The rampage is a catastrophic event where countless monsters attack the village all at once. People once lived in fear of it since ancient times, but nobody knows why it occurs. Kamura has fallen victim to this phenomenon numerous times as well, and especially the rampage that happened 50 years ago came close to wiping out the entire village. The villagers are training day in, day out to prevent this tragedy from reoccurring, and they have built a sturdy stronghold to prevent for the next invasion. To prepare for the next invasion. This is potentially, like, considering what they say here about the or is it the fallen victim, especially the rampage that happened 50 years ago, came close to wiping out the entire village. This is probably why the smithy is a bit stubborn and whatnot, because he was probably there at the time. Like, they actually tell you the details of his story. Like, if you go in here and they tell you the dependable leader of the village, for instance, Fugen, big-hearted and heroic, he is the unshakable pillar of Kamura, keeping up morale in the midst of the rampage attacks. He's a formidable warrior who used to be known throughout the land as one of the best hunters, and his longsword skills. It's always about the longswords, isn't it? Always about the longswords. Why couldn't his weapon be a gun lance? Just saying, it's always the longswords, dude. But anyways, longsword skills are second to none, and he likes to laugh uproariously. And then if you go to, like, the blacksmith, that's when they tell you Hamon is the village's blacksmith. He used to be a prolific hunter, prowling the fields with Fugen the Elder. He doesn't talk much and is quite obstinate, but his desire to protect the village is true. He will spare no expense to craft the best gear he can to keep everyone safe. He also has a kind-hearted grandson who takes care of buddies. Buddies being your palicos and palamutes. So his grandson is the one who crafts the stuff for your companions right there. If you need a gear crafter or upgrade, you can go talk to him. There's details here about all of the characters. I'm not going to go too much in depth with it. I already talked about Kageru, Komitsu, Inoa, and Yomogi. But you guys can go check out the website itself if you want to get some more information on these characters. But yeah, everything so far is looking pretty good. We have unique locales. Once again, they show us the flooded forest, dense region of deep dark green. Due to a constant flow of water, the majority of this forest has become submerged. The eye-catching ruins here can be scaled using the wire bug, which is probably something that players have been wanting to do since ever in this particular map, but they haven't been able to. So it's nice that you can finally go ahead and do it. I just believe there's probably not a whole lot to those things. And look how different it looks at night. Like this area looks gorgeous. As a matter of fact, a lot of the maps in a lot of what we've seen from the maps in Monster Hunter Rise actually remind me of Xenoblade 2. That is a very good thing because that game looked gorgeous. I don't know exactly what engine they're using, but yeah, this reminds me a lot of Xenoblade, which is really, really good. And then they talk about the boons from the endemic life. The creatures that live in each area are known as endemic life, and they grant a variety of boons to hunters. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this is because there's actually a new item that's going to be replacing charms that is important. So, permanent buffers increase your status until the end of the quest. These are the spirit birds. Sorry, I just got a message on the phone. Small species of birds that increase your health, stamina, attack, or defense till the end of the quest. The extent of the increase as well as duration depend on the petal lace you have equipped. New piece of equipment, the petal lace. This bracelet is made of a plant known as sending sprig, and it can be equipped just like a weapon or a piece of armor. The pollen spirit birds carry with them the pollen that the spirit birds carry with them attaches to the petal lace, enveloping the hunter in a sweet, energizing fragrance that grants a permanent status boost until the end of the quest. There are various types of petal lace, some more likely to raise your attack, others more likely to raise your maximum health. For instance, pick a type that best suits your needs. And you can see right there that, you know, here is your equipment screen. You got your weapon, all of your armor, and your equipment box, and no charm slot. And instead of the charm, you have this petal lace thing. And the petal lace is going to influence the buffs that you get from these spirit birds. So yeah, that's going to be interesting, them changing that stuff around. And it makes me wonder, does that mean that gems are still going to be the thing? And by gems, I mean decorations are still going to be the thing that is going to be random? Are we going to be able to craft gems? Because there's probably not going to be random charms. Are there going to be random petal laces? Don't know. We're going to have to figure that out when we actually get to the game, but it will definitely be interesting. Then we also have hunting helpers can be captured and used as items. We have the stink mink right here, a type of weasel that releases a special smoke-like pheromone when used, allowing it to attract nearby large monsters. Use it to lure one large monster towards another, causing a turf war. You can hold up to 5 hunting helpers in your helper cage, from where you'll be able to use them as items until the end of the quest. Ensnaring life imparts helpful effects when hunting monsters. So you'll be able to use raw meat in water to kind of trigger these giganyas, which are basically like piranhas, showing up and attacking everything in an area. A species of carnivorous fish that goes absolutely wild when you give them raw meat. Any monster or hunter nearby is bound to get swept up in their ferociously voracious behavior, taking damage in the process. There's a lot of stuff that they're doing with endemic life for this game, for sure. I mean, we already had a lot of stuff in World and other games, but now it seems like they're really throwing so much stuff out there that you can do. We have temp buffers that grant temporary boons. This is a clothfly butterfly that releases a cloud of dust. When it's disturbed, this dust contains a component that has a tightening effect on human skin, temporarily increasing defense. And there's many more types of endemic life in this game, so make sure to use them on your hunts. So that is going to be crazy. There's a lot of stuff, but I think probably most of this is going to be optional. Let's get real here. Usually all of this endemic life stuff is optional, but it is fun that they're putting so much effort into it to really see if people end up using it. I'll be very curious to see if like you get speedrunners that will actually pull stuff to a certain location to kind of like get a specific effect from an endemic life and see what happens with that. But yeah, basically can't wait Don't forget, January, that's when the demo comes. I don't know exactly what day of January it is, but mark that on your calendar. Maybe set a couple of hours aside if you want to check out the demo. I think it's gonna be hella good. And do remember, check out the Third Fleet podcast if you haven't already. And probably me and Gaijin going to be talking about all of this next week on the next episode of the Third Fleet podcast. Thank you all very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit it up with a like. If you did not enjoy this video, hit it up with a dislike. Feedback is important. Thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay strong, stay safe. Peace out.